Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and you would think that if we had an honest press, that one of the biggest stories you would be hearing about today is the international baby trafficking ring that got busted in Arizona and Utah that's been conducting business for years. And the person that's been conducting that business is a state and county employee. You'd think, again, if we had an honest media, you would have heard about this. That this would be all over MSNBC, CNN, even Fox News, right? Well, admittedly, the story and the clip that we are going to play for you is from Fox News, but it's from Fox 10 Phoenix. And I want to let everybody out there know how this works and what my big concerns are about this case. Number one, it's been out there, okay, for over 20 hours. Associated Press also reporting on this. Not the headlines, not something that's trending, not something that people are talking about. So before we go to the clip, I want to give you the rundown on what you're about to hear. The person behind me, okay, this guy, let's scroll right down to him, okay, is Paul D. Peterson. And he has his own law office, and he's the county assessor, okay, in Maricopa. And it also seems that he and somebody else were buying babies by having women fly in from the Marshall Islands in the Pacific, housing them, not only in the place that got busted, but there are several other locations they're finding now in Arizona, but also in Utah. And then they would furnish a deal to sell that baby for $35,000 for a $25,000 profit through fraudulent paperwork. Now, there are victims on both sides of this. In other words, obviously, the people that were buying these babies, in many cases, had no idea what they were getting into and thought they were legitimately adopting children. But the other side of this is, a man who would do this, people that would do this, are they really investigating who's buying these babies? And the other troubling thing to me is, it doesn't seem that authorities have accounted for all the women that have gone through this program and had their babies sold. So we don't even know where all of these are going. But hey, let's play the news clip and break it down.
Surrounding the arrest of Maricopa County Assessor Paul Peterson.
He's the elected official accused of bringing pregnant women into the U.S. illegally and then adopting out their kids, charging clients thousands of dollars to do it.
Now, it was a multi-agency investigation that started back in December of 2018 after a DPS trooper was tipped off by his friend who says that he was concerned about adoption fees and legitimacy of the adoption process after a meeting with Peterson. Fox 10's Jenny Martinez has the details.
So let me just stop this. The investigation itself doesn't start until 2018. Now, what they're going to find out, and you're going to find out, is this was going on at least from 2015, okay? So think about that, 3 years without even a peep or a word that this might have been going on.
Maricopa Assessor Paul Peterson appeared in court hours after his Mesa home and law office was raided by authorities Tuesday night. Peterson and his associate Linwood Jennett facing 32 felony charges, including conspiracy, theft, and fraud.
Now, let me say, they're 32 felony charges. I believe this is only in Arizona, and after these charges are brought, they find 8 more women, okay? 8 more women. So let's continue on here.
The two are accused of bringing pregnant mothers from the Marshall Islands in the Pacific to Arizona and housing them until they gave birth, allegedly claiming the women were Arizona residents.
County Assessor Peterson is also accused of using false information to place these Marshall Islands women on state-funded health care in order to pay for delivery costs, allegedly bilking the state out of more than $800,000. In other words, Arizona taxpayers are paying for these birth of these women in order for them to be adopted by.
So here's the deal. They would obviously fake paperwork so that they could have these women give birth at the cost of the state. Forget about illegal immigration. This is an American citizen working for the county that is bilking the state out of money. And again, you have to ask the question, what happened to all of these kids? If this guy was able to run this operation for at least 4 years, who is he selling them off to? Okay?
Other people.
Miss Jeanette was also part of this scheme where she would help them fill out fraudulent paperwork for access so they could deliver the baby on state funds.
Once the women gave birth, officials believe Peterson would adopt the children out for $35,000, giving the Marshallese women $10,000 each.
We believe that most of the children that were born here were eventually flown to other states.
Let me stop you. We believe that most of the children were flown to other states. What does that tell me? They don't know. They don't know what happened to all these kids. That should be an embarrassment. This guy needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They need to look into every aspect of every adoption that he was involved in, period.
Were adopted in other states. We allege that Peterson, through his adoption agency, is accused of utilizing this adoption scheme in at least 29 births here in Arizona between November of 2015 and May of 2019.
So again, 4 years, 29 births, but you're going to find out about 8 other women that get found after that.
And last night during those raids, 8 more pregnant women were found in an apartment. And we're also learning that in Utah, officials say more than 40 pregnant women were brought into the United States. Peterson is facing human smuggling charges there as well.
So here's the problem for me, a big problem. You have all these women, right? We have 29 cases that they're talking about prosecuting, but they're saying that that goes on over 4 years. 4 goes into 29. How many times, guys? Well, 4 times 7 is 28, right? So you're telling me that they found 8 women now, but it only happened 7 or so times each year? That doesn't sound right. You don't just find 8 if there's only 7 each previous year. This guy could have been doing this, I don't know, dozens of times a year, and they don't know about it? My God.
Reporting live, Jennifer Martinez, Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Jennifer. Well, officials in Utah were also speaking out about this case earlier today. They said that their investigation started back in 2017 after they started getting calls to the Attorney General's human smuggling tip line. Those calls were suggesting that there were a series of suspicious births that were happening repeatedly, all involving women from the Marshall Islands.
Now, through the investigation, they uncovered more than 40 women who were brought to the state through this scheme that they believe Peterson was the head of.
So again, now let's talk about this. Do you think it's just him and this other woman? When we're talking about all these women, all these kids, all these babies, all these separate states? I would say it's more than likely, more than Peterson. It's going to expand out further than just Arizona and Utah as the base of operations. And there's no way we're going to hear what happened to all of these kids. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a person that would do this is not very concerned about the welfare of child. No, they're concerned about benefiting monetarily off of a human life.
Credit the work between all of the states and agencies of putting this to an end quickly.
This case is very complex. The resources, the intensity of the case, the sensitivity of the case. You have victims on the adoptive family side. You have victims on the birth mother side. Have created a situation where, with the lack of cooperation between all these states and agencies, we never would be standing here in front of you today.
Now,
So there you go. And they say they're not going to overturn any of these adoptions. But I really, really hope that we get to the bottom of this. Any other co-conspirators are brought to justice, and maybe we get a little national attention on this story. What do you think? You think maybe this should deserve a little national attention? Baby smuggling? International baby smuggling rings in the United States? Or are we going to, just ignore this? I'm not. So if you like this video, please, now's the time to thumbs it up, share it with others, join the Burmese Brigade, let other people know about this channel. Let's get to 35K. Let's get to 40K, 50K, 100K. Let's get more information out there that matters, that goes beyond this left-right paradigm that is nothing but bullshit. All right? How many Democrats or Republicans are screaming about the international baby trafficking ring I just talked about? Not many. I'm not hearing it. How many of you know about it? Folks, I'm also a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. All free, all here in the documentaries playlist. Go check them out. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you can, please support me financially. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. It keeps this channel going. It keeps the Burmese Brigade growing. And I want to say I love you guys, and I will see you on the flip side.